Welcome back to Mondays with May from Arts for All. My name is Mélissa. I am a teaching artist with Arts for All. And if you've had me in your classroom or if you've been watching, you might recognize me as Miss May. Hello. For those of you that don't know Arts for All offers accessible artistic opportunities to children in the New York City area. And we are always incorporating our 5 core values, working to build self-confidence, self-expression, teamwork, resilience, and creativity in children. Now, while our focus remains in New York City through all of our new virtual learning opportunities like this program, we are so happy to have children from anywhere view our free learning content and, of course, join us here on Mondays with May. With me, I am coming to you from my apartment in Brooklyn, New York. I wonder where you are watching from. Make sure you tell us in the comments where you are viewing this program from. Well, let's get on with today's Monday with May. We always start by warming up our bodies. So for the warm up, I'm going to stand. You can stand up on your feet and copy me as best you can. But if you need to make any changes to make anything feel more comfortable or more safe on your own body, you go ahead and do that. So we always want to make sure that we are checking the space around us. We don't want to stub a toe or hit a friend, right? Let's start by sending our energy upwards. So I'm going to reach up, 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 up. You can go up on your toes. You can jump. Whatever feels good to you, but send your energy up, 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 up. And now send your energy downwards, down, down, down. You can send your voice down too. Downwards energy, down towards the earth. And let's send it up again, up towards the sky. Up, 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 upwards energy, and down, 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 downwards energy. All right, now I'm going to stretch by reaching over to one side, and I'm going to let out a big ooh. Go ahead and say ooh. That feels good. And reaching over to the other side, stretching, and now say ah. Ah. Now I'm going to open real big. I'm going to spread my legs open my fingers and my face, and I'm going to say, wow, 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 wow. Opening my chest too. And then I'm going to do and say, twist. And to the other side, twist. Good. I'm going to do all of those together. Do it with me. Ooh. Ooh. Ah. Ah. Wow, 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 wow. And twist. And twist. All right. Now we're going to do some isolations. Let's start with our head. So I'm going to look up to the ceiling and down to the floor. Look up to the ceiling. Look down to the floor. Quicker. To the ceiling. To your toes. To the ceiling. To your toes. Ceiling, toes. Ceiling, toes. Ceiling, toes. Ceiling, toes. And nod your head and say yes. Yes. Uh-huh, uh-huh, uh-huh. Yes. 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 Uh-huh, uh-huh. Now look over one shoulder. Look over your other shoulder. Look over one shoulder, over your other shoulder. Look from shoulder to shoulder, shoulder to shoulder, looking shoulder, 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 shoulder. Shake your head. Say no. No way. No. Oh, no way. No means no. Now we're going to move our shoulders. I'm going to start by moving my shoulders like in a bicycle action, rotating them in opposite directions, like I'm riding a bike, and switch directions. Get them going, get them going. And I'm going to give them a shake and a shimmy. Give your shoulders a shimmy and a shake. Now I'm going to lift my shoulders up. It's like a shrug and say, I don't know. And drop them. Lift them up. Say, I don't know. And drop them. Again, up. I don't know. And drop them one more time. I don't know. And drop them. Good. Now we are going to move our hips. So first, let's move our hips in a big circle. A big circle like you have a hula hoop. Or like you're drawing a big, big circle around you with your hips. And change direction. Make the circle go in the other direction. Whoa. Maybe you can make the circle so big it almost knocks you off your balance. All right, and now we're going to do some hip bumps. Okay, so I'm going to go side to side. I'm going to go 8 times this way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Then 8 times this way. Then from 8, I'm going to go 4 and 4. I did 8. Then 4. Can you guess what comes next? 2 times each way. Then back and forth, back and forth. If you have a buddy or a family member nearby and they're okay with it, maybe you can try some hip bumps with your friend on those last ones. Okay, so let's do it. You can count out loud with me as we hip bump, and you can put some flair into it. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Woo! That's pretty fun. All right, now let's test our balance, actually. So for this, I'm going to go up on one leg. It's very important while we do this balance test that you do not fall over. If you feel like you're losing your balance, just put your foot back down. Don't bring a friend down with you. So let's bring up one foot behind us. I'm going to grab it back here, and I'm going to use this arm to help me balance, okay? And let's see how long you can keep your balance. When you feel like you're going to fall, drop it and switch to the other side. Test your limits. It's going to be different for each person. Whoa, but whatever you do, don't fall down. And I'm going to do one last test up on my tiptoes. I'm up on my tiptoes. And I'm testing my balance. Whoa. I'm using my arms to help me stay steady. Oh, all right. Very good testing of your balance. Sometimes you got to push your limits. Okay. Now we are going to shake it out to close our warm up. And I want you to count out loud with me from 10 all the way down to 0 as we shake our entire body. Get it all out. Ready? Here we go. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Find your way back to a seat. All right, I feel very warmed up. I'm going to take a sip of water. Water is essential. Water is life. Whew. All right, so I missed you all last week. We weren't here last week, and a lot of folks had school off last week because it was a very special day. Last Monday was Indigenous Peoples Day, and we missed our broadcast because of that, because there was no school. But you know what? Indigenous people aren't only to be honored on one day of the year. So today we are celebrating Indigenous people and honoring Indigenous people. It's something that is great to do every single day. Now, you might be wondering, who are Indigenous people? What does that mean? Well, Indigenous people or Native people or the first people are folks whose ancestors and families have been on the land in an area for a very, very, very long time. They're the original people here. So last time we talked about migrants and immigrating, moving from one place to another, going from one culture to another culture. Well, Native people, their families have stayed in one place and built culture over generations and generations in one location. Now, the location might be very big. Some Indigenous people use the term Turtle Island. Some people use that word to refer to the whole world, and some Indigenous people use it to refer to this huge landmass that if you're in the United States, in Canada, or in South America, we're all connected on this big, big landmass that they would call or do call Turtle Island. And then people started to come from different places. They were out exploring. Sometimes they got lost, and they would find these places and these people who had been living on the land, the native Indigenous people, who had communities, ways of life. They had figured out so much even very, very long time ago, and they were very curious, and sometimes they got pretty stingy, and sometimes they stole from these people. Yeah, sometimes they thought their ideas were too good and they wanted to take those ideas back to where they had originally come from, or sometimes they wanted to stay on the land and they did some pretty harsh things to get the land. Sometimes they would tell the Indigenous people that lived there they weren't allowed to speak their language anymore. they weren't allowed to dress the way they were used to dressing. And they made them speak their own languages and made them wear their own clothes. That's why I'm speaking English. And that's why in South America, a lot of places they speak Spanish and different languages from all other places way far away. It's because people came to this land and started to take over things. So that's kind of what happened. And but the people didn't completely go away. Indigenous people are still here, still on the land, still thriving in communities, and still doing really important work. I want to look at some of the inventions that Indigenous people created that we are still very much benefiting from today. Now, I only picked 10 out of the many, 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 many things that Indigenous people have come up with. So let's look at some of the things that were created by Indigenous communities. The first one is, does anyone know what this is? This is a sport. This is a game. It's called lacrosse. So on one side, you see a piece of art depicting Native folks, Indigenous folks playing the sport of lacrosse. And on this side is a picture of a modern day lacrosse set. Next, we have snow goggles. So in the parts of the land where everything would be covered with snow, when the sun hits the snow, oh, it's a blinding light. So they created these snow goggles so that they wouldn't be blinded from the light reflecting off of all that snow. And then you have a picture of it more modernized. Next, ooh, I don't like needles, but the syringe, if you've ever gotten a shot, if you've gotten your cootie shot, you might have had to be poked with a syringe. Well, Indigenous people created something way early on using bones. Wow. They used bones with hollow parts to get medicine inside of their bodies before their time. A baby bottle. Can you believe it? Yes, baby bottles were created by Indigenous folks. Now they're used all over the world by all sorts of people. And this is not what it looked like when they first made it. They used dried animal parts and they would smash up the food like a baby would need to be able to feed it to their babies. Bunk beds. I call top bunk. Bunk beds were created by Indigenous communities. Bubble gum. Yep. Next time you have a piece of bubble gum, you can thank Indigenous folks for that. And kayaks. You see two pictures side by side. One is obviously a very old photo, and one is a much more recent photo of kayaks. Have you ever been in a kayak? Do you want to pretend to paddle a kayak? They are very fun. And a hammock. Hammocks are so comfy, cozy. I read in my research that Christopher Columbus, that might be a name you recognize, Christopher Columbus saw hammocks and thought, oh, these are very comfortable. He loved the hammocks, among many other things that he observed from the Native people. And they took the idea of the hammock, and then in the ships, as they sailed back and forth, a lot of the men on the ships began to sleep in hammocks because it was much more comfortable than how they had been sleeping before. And corn. You might be wondering, but corn grows from the ground. How do you invent that? Well, actually, it took so many years of people cultivating the plant. So the Native people would change little things about the plant and the way they grew it to get it to grow in a way that would taste delicious and be soft enough for us to chew. So that's pretty cool. Next time you have some corn on the cob, some elote, or some popcorn, you can just remember and thank the indigenous people that came before us. Rubber balls. Oh my goodness. You ever play jacks or bounce a rubber ball? It was indigenous folks who discovered that you could get rubber from inside of a tree and turn it into a rubber ball. So that's fun. That's the last one. That is the last of it. So that's just the last of what I'm sharing. There's lots more where that came from. So next time you use any of those things, remember that you have an indigenous person to thank for that. All right, so we are going to move on to our book for today. Let's get ready to dive in. For today's book, I checked this book out from the library. Raise your hand if you love the library. I love the library. But this time I checked out an e-book. So that means we get to look at this book on the screen. There it is. The book is called We Are Water Protectors. This book is by Carole Linstrome, illustrated by Michaela Cody. We Are Water Protectors. Ooh, let's just admire this cover a little bit. We see a girl. She seems young. Looks like a young girl. She's holding a feather. And I can't tell you fully what the significance is, but I know that feathers are very significant in many Native cultures, indigenous cultures. We are water protectors. Ooh, look at these waves. Very beautiful illustrations. Water is the first medicine. Go ahead and say that. Water is the first medicine, Nokomis told me. Nokomis means grandmother. Do you want to try and say Nokomis? Nokomis. Yeah, that means grandmother. We come from water. It nourished us inside our mother's body, and it nourishes us here on Mother Earth. Water is sacred. Go ahead and say that. Water is sacred, she said. Water is super important. Earlier, if I hadn't had a drink of water, who knows what would have happened? And our bodies are scientifically proven made from so much water. And the earth is also made from so much water. Water is sacred, she said. We stand with our songs and our drums. We are still here. Go ahead and say that. We are still here. That is the voice of the indigenous people. Indigenous communities are not just something from history. They are still here. The river's rhythm runs through my veins, runs through my people's veins. My people talk of a black snake that will destroy the land. Now, when it talks about my people, who do you think they're talking about when it says my people? It runs through my people's veins. My people talk of a black snake that will destroy the land. What do you think the black snake could be? I see something in the background of this picture. Do you see it here? Do you know what it could be? Spoil the water, poison plants and animals, wreck everything in its path. Oh no. When my people first spoke of the black snake, They foretold that it wouldn't come for many, many years. Nakomi is telling this story. The grandmother is telling this story that she's heard for many, many years ago. Now, the black snake is here. Its venom burns the land, courses through the water, making it unfit to drink. Take courage. Everybody say that. Take courage. I must keep the black snake away from my village's water. I must rally my people together. I must rally my people together. And there she is again with her feather. To stand for the water, to stand for the land, to stand as one against the black snake. And there's the young girl with her community members holding hands, standing as one behind her. We stand with our songs and our drums. We are still here. Go ahead and let's say that last line together. We are still here. We are still here. It will not be easy. Wow. Look at this. She is standing up to the black snake. We fight for those who cannot fight for themselves. Who can't fight for themselves? Let's see. The winged ones, the crawling ones, the four-legged, the two-legged, the plants, trees, rivers, lakes, the earth. We are all related. Go ahead and say that. We are all related. Tears like waterfalls stream down, tracks down my face, tracks down my people's faces. Water has its own spirit, Nakomi's told me. Do you remember who Nakomi's is? The grandmother. Water is alive. Water remembers our ancestors who came before us, she said. We stand with our songs and our drums. We are still here. Go ahead and say that. We are still here. We are stewards of the earth. Our spirits have not been broken. We are water protectors. We stand. The black snake is in for the fight of its life. You can see some of the signs there in the crowd. It says, water is life. All nations protect the sacred. We stand with Standing Rock. No DAPL. And this picture represents something that actually happened and is still happening in the Dakotas. The black snake. Do you know what the black snake is? The black snake is a pipeline that carries oil. Now, oil is something that is important. It's something that we use a lot of for a lot of different things. And for it to get to one place to another place, it has to travel far if we want it to get from one place to another place. And so they made pipes to carry this oil. But some of the places where the pipes go through are going through indigenous communities' land, and it's going through water and wetlands, places where the four-legged ones, the winged ones, the crawling ones live. And the thing about these pipes is that they leak. Sometimes They have holes. They're just not perfect. And we know that. And the people who make the pipes also know that. And so when the oil leaks out, like it has done, it's really not good for the earth, and it's not good for the animals or the people. The people that live in those areas then don't have clean drinking water, and the animals don't have clean drinking water or clean places to live. So that's why people, Indigenous people, started this fight, and a lot of people came and rallied around them. Indigenous people from all over the world stood together for this fight that is happening here in the United States to say, please don't put these pipelines through this land. So that's what this picture is of. And here is a lot more information, and we are going to skip to the Earth Steward and Water Protector Pledge. So let's see if we can zoom in on this. All right, so if you want to be a better steward to the earth and the water, you can say this pledge with me. I will do my best to honor Mother Earth and all its living beings, including the water and land. I will always remember to treat the earth as I would like to be treated. I will treat the winged ones, the crawling ones, the four-legged, the two-legged, the plants, trees, rivers, lakes, the earth with kindness and respect. I pledge to make this world a better place by being a steward of the earth and a protector of the water. All right, so we can stand with Indigenous folks who have been stewards of this land that we're on much before us, or me personally, or my ancestors, maybe some of you were here. So we can stand with them. Now we are going to dance with them. So let's get ready to do our 60-second dance break. For today's 60-second dance break, we're dancing to a song called Indigenous Peoples Day by an artist named Fyütch and Radmilla Cody. I hope I'm saying her name correctly. So let's get up, move your body any way that feels good to you. You can move it like water or like other elements of the earth or an animal. And let's get ready to move. Here we go.
Show love to the indigenous ones, from ancestors to those still alive. Sing. One earth, one people, one love. People of the earth. One earth, one people, one love. It's time to stand together. One earth, one people, one love. 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 Time to right these wrongs. One earth, one people, one love. Stand together as one earth, one people, one love. One earth, one people, one love. One earth, one people, one love. My people, your people, our people.
All right, let's cool down with 3 deep breaths together. I'm going to use my hands to scoop the air around me as I take in that big deep breath. One more breath. And now give yourself a squeeze and a pat on the back. All right. Now it's time to think. What can we do to keep this conversation, to keep thinking about what we've been talking about today? The first thing is find out whose land you are on. So, like I said, there were people living here before the colonizers came, before immigrants started to come in. So find out whose native land you are on. So there is a website or phone number. We're going to put it in the comments that you can put your zip code or your town into, and it will tell you which native community had been inhabiting your land or whose land you are on. I am on Canarsie and Munsee Lenape land. So you find out whose land you're living on and tell us in the comments. And remember to honor those people. It's good to acknowledge that there were people here before us. The next thing to do is to be mindful. When next time you're outside in nature, just notice it more. Notice how you're treating the earth. When you go to water, if you're at a lake, or when you're on the grass, if you're by a river, think about how you're treating it. Like in our pledge, it said to treat the earth the way that we want to be treated, and animals as well. All right, the next thing to do is to make a piece of art using water. So I made something, and I really like the way it came out. So this is what I made using water. So first I had some paper and I used markers. I drew some shapes, and then I used my water and my straw, and I put some droplets of water on the paper. And warning, this can get a little bit messy. And I just let it move around, and I saw how it changed what I had put on my paper so much and in such a cool way. So with some supervision, I want to invite you to make an abstract piece of art using some water. And when you do, please share it with us. I really want to see what you come up with. So you can send your pictures to learn more at ArtsForAll email. I really want to see what you come up with. I think it's going to be great. And that brings us to the end of today's program. Thank you so much for joining me today. I look forward to more Mondays with you. We'll be here again next Monday at 10 a.m. If you miss us live, you can watch the replay on the Arts4All Facebook page. So tell a friend. See you next week. And until then, from everyone at Arts4All, we hope you have a wonderful week. Bye-bye.
One earth, one people, one love. One earth, one people, one love. One earth, one people, one love.